everybody, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and we are working on Stamperia Princess, and I'm going to use another one of these cut-aparts that come in the 12 by 12 collection. This is 12 by 12, and this is 8 by 8, and then this is a scrap from my 12 by 12 also. And on some of my other ones, I was using the back side of the 8 by 8 cut-aparts, which is like the flip side of this, but I've already used this once in the collection, and so I was kind of going back and forth. Well, I'm actually going to use it on the opposing page. That's why I'm not using this one. So I've just taken a piece of scrap that I had that I thought really coordinated well, because this pattern is down here, so that's the 8 by 8 and the 12 by 12. And I'm just going to tuck it behind and just kind of have this sort of collage effect on this page. So this is just a piece of scrap, and I just took what I had, and it's 4 1/4. So 4 1/4 by 3 7/8. So it doesn't have to be that size. It could be, any size that you want. You could use something even as small as this. It's just not interesting enough alone. So I decided to mat something and slide it slightly behind it, just to make it a little more interesting. Okay, so that can be any size, and I just told you my size. And then this piece, of course, I've made it into a card, and I trimmed it to fit this cut apart piece. And I'll tell you, the measurements are 8 3/8 by 5 5/8. That's basically the overall size of this, and then it's scored in half. Now, the way I do this typically is I'll size it the right way up at top to bottom, which is 5 5/8, and then I will make it wider than I need. So this is actually 8 3/8, so I would make it 8 1/2, and score it at 4 1/4, and then trim it down collectively to the size that I need after I put on this piece. So you can do it either way. That's the way I do it. I find it comes out matted more evenly when I do it that way. So I've already attached the top one. I placed a magnet here on the inside and the back, and it's going to get adhered to this mat. And then before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and place this here, and this is the flip side of this cut apart. Because I'm using 2 packs, I've got 2 of each one of these cut aparts. Okay, now I've got some white corners showing on here, because in Stamperia the image is slightly rounded, but I just cut this straight in my trimmer. So you can either round the corners, or you can ink the corners to knock the white off so it's not so obvious. And I've done both before, so just for speed. A lot of times I'll keep my corners square, so I'm not adding that extra step, which is something easy for you guys to add as you're building your own. Okay. This on, and then once I get this glued in, then we're gonna arrange this and tack it down. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now I've got to go back to my pile. So that's 4 5, and this is going to be 6 7. Yep, got it right. So this is the right one. So that's page 5. This is page 6, and I'm just making sure I'm putting it in right. I'm going to start by laying down the large mat, since I don't have any hinges that I need to adhere to the base pocket page. Oops. Nope. I'm doing it this way. Okay. Had to think about which side was up. So everything's going well here in San Diego. Hope everybody's doing well and staying safe. We're still, in California, we're still doing masks, and for the most part, if you can, staying home. In a couple of weeks, my son's school will start, but I think it's going to start and be all online again, unfortunately. Although they're promising a better experience and more actual online, interactive online instead of one-way communication. So that'll be interesting. It's hard to know how many of you guys have kids and they're going through this. I'm sure if you don't have kids, your college-age students are kind of dealing with the same thing. So this is what I think I'm going to do. This looks pretty straightforward, so I like this. So I'm coming in 3/4 of an inch, and I'm coming down just below that green line here for the first piece. So let's get that in. And this is just going to be glued straight down. You don't have to glue it straight down if you want. You can glue 3 out of 4 sides and create a little secret tuck spot into the side if you want. Okay, I'm using my grid to help me place this. And then of course the pattern on the paper itself. So I came in 3/4 of an inch and I came down to the green line, which is about a 1/2 inch. All in all, about a 1/2 inch, yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna glue this one down. Take off my paper. And there we go. And then we're gonna go ahead after this and work on page 7. Since both of these are fairly simple pages, I'm releasing them together. You'll know that my graphic 45 albums are always quite a bit more complex, and part of that is just because I start with a bundle, and that gives me just a lot more paper. So in total for this, I wind up with 40 pages, 20 that are 12 by 12 and 20 that are 8 by 8. And just the 12 by 12s, the pattern solids and the 12 by 12 collection pack gives me 32 sheets, and that's before I add in the 8 by 8s and the graphic 45 collection. So it is quite a bit more paper, and that's why these come out so simple, because I just don't have as much paper to do as many flaps. Now another way around that, if you want to do a more complex album, is do a smaller scale. So instead of 8 by 8, maybe do a 6 by 6, and then you can add more flaps and features. So I like 8 by 8, and the reason I like 8 by 8 is because most photographs printed, the most common size is 4 by 6. So if you have a 6 by 6 album, your 4 by 6 is gonna pretty much cover one whole page. So that's kind of why I lean toward this side. You can actually you can kind of stagger 2 4 by 6s on here. They might slightly overlap, but you can make that work. Okay, so that is done. So now we need to find a piece to go here. So I'm gonna dig through my scraps real quick and find something pleasing. And I have plenty to work with. This is so pretty. I love this paper, but it's not quite wide enough. So let's see what we have that might be. That's an option. It's the right width. That's the right width, but I think that might be too fussy. And I love this, so I think this is what we're gonna use. And this is the alternative. Yeah. That one's too narrow, this one's just right. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this down. And we're gonna use this image to locate my pencil. So because I want this straight line to go all the way across, and I repeat myself a lot in videos, but we're gaining new subscribers as we go, and I know not everybody goes back to the old videos because some of those papers aren't even available anymore. So I'll say the same things I've said lots of times. Anyways, I want this line to be very continuous, and one of the ways to achieve that is to marry this corner up to the edge here mark it and then trim it so that this piece is exactly the same height, and then I can get that continuous line. And I think those little details go a long way to making your album just, you know, really look professional and finished, and neat and tidy, and that's kind of my thing. Okay, and it looks like I need to make it a little bit narrower. Okay. Hope everybody's having a good evening. And if you haven't gone to our Facebook page, you should head over there. We have a Facebook group called Scrap and Create, and that's scrap with the letter N and create, just like our YouTube channel. And some of our customers share their completed projects, some of them using my tutorial as inspiration, and some trying to do an exact copy. And, you know, there's lots of feedback. People will say, you know, this worked well, or, you know, this tutorial was easy to follow, or here's how I changed it. And there's lots of good content over there. And if you have a project you want to share with paper that you've purchased from us, we would love to have you join us over there. And if you are watching from out of the United States or one of its territories, you know you can't shop with us because we only ship to the United States and its territories. But one of the ways you can help us is by giving us a thumbs up, and also leaving us a comment. All those things really help us appear higher up in the YouTube recommendation list, so that other like-minded crafters will see our videos and get a chance to watch. So that really helps us out. If you can't patronize our shop, we ask that you take a moment and at least give us a like, and share it with friends that you know make albums. So that is page 6, and that's sort of my mid-video spiel to get you guys to hit those like buttons, like, subscribe, and share. Okay, now we are on to page 7. And so page 7, and I'll pull page 6 back in real quick. Here's page 6. So these are both from 8x8. We used the A side on one and the B side on the other. Let's go ahead and get this in. It looks like I've already trimmed it, so that's good. Okay, this one we are going to attach a flap directly to the pocket page. So it'll be just a second. I'll get this inked, and then we will focus on getting the flap in and locating a magnet. So I should tell you the size of the flap. The flap is 5.5 by 8. 5.5 by 8. Try to get that real quick. I was just double checking to make sure I had the pocket page right side up, and I do. I built this out of order, so page 8 is already done. There we go. And I am adhering this to, I'm trying to remember, to the right hand side of the page. There we go. This will go here. Just doing a little quick housekeeping. There we go. shoot. I did that without putting the magnet down. Lift it up quickly, quickly, quickly. Oh, come on. Good. Thank goodness. Shoot. So we still need to put a magnet on here. Sorry about that, guys. Dum-dum. I think I'm going to do a solid piece on this side so I don't have to worry about color blocking. Anyway, so yeah. As soon as I looked at that blank panel, I'm like, wait, I messed up. So you can lift glued paper down, but you got to hurry. You can't you can't dilly-dally, so to speak. Okay, now I need another magnet. And I'm just going to barely tap this down so it doesn't try to glue the whole thing down. There we go. I don't think that placed right, so one more time. There we go. All right, now let's do this one more time. Sorry about that, guys. Here's my pick tool. I just rub around the tape to make it adhere so that when I try to peel it up, I'm not actually taking the adhesive up. I'm only grabbing the paper that's behind it. So, ooh, that would have been I would have been upset if I tore my paper, but if it was the middle of the day, that probably wouldn't have worked in my favor, and then I probably would have figured out a different way to hide my magnet. But right now it's the evening and we've cooled the house off, so my glue isn't drying so quickly. Thank goodness. Okay, now I gotta be careful to make sure it left a little trail behind, that I get my paper right on top of where I pulled it off so that it's covered. There we go. And then no one will ever know. Except us. Just us. Okay, so there we go. Crisis averted. Okay, I'm planning on doing this side. This is 8 by 8. This is 12 by 12. And you can see clearly see it's the 12 by 12. Same pattern. I just trimmed off the edges. And I should have dry fit this before I took my tape off. But it looks good. Okay. I'm kind of discombobulated, I guess. I'm doing things a little out of order. Nice. Very easy to put 3x3s here. 2 3x3s right on top of each other. And I've got tons of the cut-aparts left, so I'm likely to come back and do some embellishing like so, but I'm not going to focus on that right now. Okay, so now I had picked out this, which is from the 12 by 12 collection. Gonna go right here, and it's inked, so I'm ready to lay it down. Pretty. Okay, now I am going to use these 2 pieces, and then I've paper backed Dream, so it's going to go here, and I think I'm going to put some chipboard behind this. So I'm pulling out my drawer because this is where I keep all my bits that come off of when I make my albums. So I'm going to put a little chipboard behind Dream. And then I'm going to raise this one, but I'm going to put this directly on the page. So I've got to find, yeah. These are I use them for chipboard and for ribbon, and it cuts both very well. Someday I'll invest in a good guillotine trimmer for chipboard, but at the moment, I sort of resist because it's just one more thing to put on my tabletop, and I need workspace. Less tools, more workspace. Okay. There we go. So that is going to go on the bottom. We are going to put some chipboard on the back of this. I'm just putting a couple of rough lines since I'm not using a trimmer. Just want to make sure that when I'm done, it's not exposed. You can see I had some notes on the back here. I sometimes use my chipboard as scrap paper too to write notes as I'm building something, to kind of think things through from a measurement perspective. But I know it's all going to get covered up if it gets used at all. Okay, this is a Ginger Rop technique. She is the one that told me that she always uses her spare chipboard to back things and provide dimension. And I think it's a great idea. I've never been a fan of foam dots. I don't like that everything wiggles. I want it to feel solid and not lift. One of the things I do like about glue dots though is because they don't cover the whole back, you can sort of tuck things behind it, which is why oftentimes I will size my chipboard smaller than the actual black cardstock so I can sneak things behind it if I want to. Okay, I'm just eyeballing this and I'm telling ya, I'm coming in a 1/2 inch from this edge, roughly. And yeah, that looks good. This is gonna get layered here, like so. And that's gonna come in down here. Okay. I'm going to leave this corner open in case I want to tuck something in here. So you can see I glued it sort of at a diagonal. And I'm coming in about a 1/2 inch just so it looks pleasing. Again, I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not measuring it. And I need to open it and press it into place because the magnet, the bulk in the magnet right here is making it stand away. Okay, there we go. And that just adds a little dimension, and I think that's very pretty. Then we're going to put Dream right down here. There we go. And you can see it's not square, but the cut apart wasn't square either. It's supposed to look a little rough. Okay, so there we go. So this page is even somewhat embellished. Okay, so that is it for page 6 and page 7. When we get back, we'll start working on our last page, and then we still need to insert our pages in the book and cover our large inserts for the pocket page. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Daphne from Scrap and Create. I'll be back soon.